Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
Third episode for the day we're recording here.
Yeah.
It's, for us,
We're trying to do 4
it's a month
in
down the
one
road for y'all. I think we'll get 4 done today. I'm going to set my little
timer.
timer here. May have to pull this up for my Face ID. There we go. Welcome, everyone.
Yes.
It's
So we're hoping by now, when this airs, that we'll have subscribers in the 60s.
Yes. I'm. You know, they say if you put it out into the world, that helps make it happen. So we're putting it out into the world.
Speak it into existence.
And a couple of episodes ago, I said that it'd be, I think we both agreed, having 100 subscribers by the time we hit our year anniversary.
Yeah.
And you said that was probably in October. I agree.
Yeah, October, November,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
I think that's good. So we are picking back up in this episode, continuing our Gen X timeline, the making of a generation.
Yes.
That was the official name of it, right? It's been so long. I'm lucky enough to remember to say the name of our podcast so people know.
Rated Gen X.
That,
Here we are.
This isn't just, two random dudes starting to talk.
No.
This is a legitimate
This is calculated.
operation here. We have this set, and we're now 3 episodes into Stabilized Table.
Yeah.
Dude, upgrade. This is...
I did this about 10 minutes before you got here.
It's phenomenal. And I noticed that you're now using it too.
I am.
So it's
I just knew to sit like
somehow
this.
it makes me feel... Yeah,
I
you
feel-
look
I
like you're
feel more-
holding yourself. Like
yeah.
you got to go to pee or something.
Right.
So I'm glad we've moved on. We're professionalizing
Hopefully that's not what y'all
this.
thought all this time.
It's... I don't know.
All right. Let's hit the intro,
Yeah.
and then we will...
We'll banter some more.
Yes, we'll get into 1995. Here we go.
Welcome. I got to talk first, too.
Yeah.
All right.
I wish there was a camera rolling while that intro song was playing.
Oh, we're back? Okay. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris. Oh. That was not okay what we talked about.
No.
But,
At least we get it out
it
in
just
between.
depends.
It's... That's the next step.
That is the next line of defense.
Oh, man. Aging is awesome
Sometimes it sucks.
until it's not.
Oh. All right.
Man.
95. Let's start with you. 95.
1995. Woo, man. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a little loud, too. All right. I'm going to recompose myself. Welcome back to Rated Gen X.
Timeline. The making of a generation.
I don't know if I can keep this straight yet. I'm crying. My eyes are watering. All right. Well, we are starting with 1995. So we've got, 4 years left, right?
Yep.
We've been kind of going through this. We had said before, we're grown-ups now. We're grown.
I have a kid.
You have a kid. We're 1995 is when I get married. So we are cruising right along. So sorry, ladies, taken. Since 95. 1995, January 17th, a 6.9 magnitude earthquake hits Kobe, Japan, causing over $200 billion in damage and over 6,400 people perish. Now, this was not the one this wasn't the tidal wave. That was
No, that was much
2012 or something like that.
Much later, yeah.
Okay. So I can't say I remember this one very well. But that's still, you got
Very
6,400
significant
people,
world,
man.
yeah.
That's huge. So that's how we start the year off. February 19th, Pamela Anderson marries Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee. Well, that's all, where that was going to go.
Oh, yeah.
That was chaotic. But yeah, so they got together, got married.
Made a video. You're going to leave that part out, weren't you?
Yes, they made a video. February the 21st, we'll move on. Steve Fossett becomes the first person to fly solo across the Pacific Ocean in a hot air balloon, and to this day, no one cares.
It didn't change things.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't either, but I thought it was significant enough that, like...
Oh my God, where did that come from?
Somebody just go,
yeah,
hey.
I don't,
You know they got airplanes,
well,
right?
hold on. Was it on purpose? It was a hot air balloon.
Yeah,
I know you have some control over that.
It was on purpose.
But did he just go up somewhere in Pennsylvania and then he ends up in France? He goes, hey, or not France, I'm on the wrong coast.
Wrong ocean.
All right. Oh,
Geography is important.
and it's actually what brought. No, never mind. All right.
Jimmy Buffett said,
Anyway.
without geography, you're nowhere.
Wise man.
Yes.
Sorry, Steve. I don't recall that.
If you're watching,
Yeah. But
tell us why.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have him on.
And well, here's the
along
thing.
with Ice-T and Baby Jessica.
I was wondering who was going to bring that up first. Oh man. So, all right. So let's think about this for a second.
Are we still on the balloon?
Yeah.
Okay.
He flew solo across the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
But it doesn't tell us from where to where, right?
It doesn't.
Did he leave from the U.S. and go against wind
That I
and
don't
weather
know.
currents? Because that I feel like would be a little impressive.
That
Like,
would be impressive. I would assume because of wind and ocean currents.
He started in Asia.
In Asia and came
Okay.
this away.
But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll tell you where he took off and landed. Or
Okay.
landed maybe
That's
little
interesting.
general.
Some of the tidbits you get, they're interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't know how, what did that do for the world, Steve? I would, and I say that I would truly be interested. If there were a documentary on it, I'd probably watch it just to
yeah.
understand and know.
As long as it was just like one episode.
Yeah.
I'm not watching multiple episodes. And I'm sure there's some people saying that about us. I'm not
Still in
watching
that book.
those.
That's true. It all depends on which episode you start with.
Yeah.
March the 16th, Mississippi becomes the final state to ratify the 13th Amendment, officially abolishing slavery in
We're
1995.
Right. We're 130 years
Wow.
past.
You know, and I can't say that that's shocking to me. I mean, it is now. We were in, 2025, but wow.
You would figure
That's a long
at some point, after 30 or 40 years, somebody would be going from the federal government
we should
going,
really take this off
hey,
the books kind of thing. Yeah, that's
or from the federal government being like, if you want to continue to receive funding, because, that's how they tend to do things.
true.
They say, if you want to continue to receive funding, you're going to do this. That's how the federal government strong arms whoever their businesses or states or whatever. So, but you kind of wonder, why did it take that long?
Well, where's Mississippi ranked on things like education? So maybe they weren't getting funding, and
pretty down there.
somebody's like, oh,
Maybe we
do
should.
this. Yeah.
Eh?
So there could be
Okay.
crazy reason to do that. But
Fair.
March 18th, Michael Jordan ends his basketball retirement and announces his return to the NBA.
Wearing number 45,
Hold
I
on.
believe.
Michael Jordan ends his basketball retirement and announces his... Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry. I don't know what.
So he was retired from basketball,
Yeah.
and then
He
says,
ends his retirement and announces
I'm ending
his
my
return,
retirement
so
and going back to
I
the
got you.
NBA.
For some reason, that was confusing me. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
April the 19th, the Oklahoma City bombing at the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, carried out by Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. 168 people were killed and 680 others were wounded. Very, very significant event that I remember.
Yes.
I
have been to the Oklahoma City bombing museum. They turned it into a museum now. And I took coach high school volleyball, and we used to go when the school system would let us. Now they said it's not a necessary trip. But I used to take my volleyball team to watch the women's college national championship in
Yeah,
volleyball.
you had a good friend that would help you out with hotels.
Yes. So that would be you. I was like, wait a minute.
Different life.
Right. But so 1 year it was in Oklahoma City, the national championship. And I always had to schedule educational things to get my trip approved. Right. So we would go to, we would go to a science museum every place that we went, and we would try to go to some type of other museum, because it's a school trip. I don't want them just, they need to learn something.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
And I had allotted about 2.5 or 3 hours to go through this.
Yeah.
Because, high school girls, you never know what they're going to, whatever. We spent about 4.5 hours there.
Oh, wow.
And they asked to come back at night because they have an exhibit where they have made, I might get the number wrong, but I think it's 22 chairs out of the metal remains, like from the building, some of the twisted metal. They shaped them into chairs because there was a daycare in the federal building, and I believe 22 children passed away. If I have the number wrong, I'll correct it down here. And then what they do at night, those chairs, they all have lights under them, and the chairs light up at night. And there's little plaques about just the events. And they wanted to come back at night, so we went back at. It's always in December, the national championship, so it gets dark earlier. So I think we went back about 7:30 or 8, and it was dark. And I'm telling you, they were there for probably 30 or 45 minutes, and I don't think I heard anyone make a sound.
Oh, wow.
That was just a phenomenal group of young ladies. So if any of you all are watching, I'm proud of you. But they gave it the reverence that it deserved. But just to walk through that museum and see what happened, knowing that there's a daycare in there, it was just very... It wasn't disturbing. It was just very, very reverent feeling. And you were just like, how, why? And, it was just, kind of messed with you.
Yeah.
But I was very proud of that group for how they conducted themselves at all those things. So.
I don't feel like it happens a lot when you get like a whole group of people to like stop and like you said, to kind of.
Yeah. And I think there were 12 or 14 of them. So I mean, it wasn't just a handful. It was 3/4 of the team.
Wow. That's so I was I did run. Eventually they caught up with, there became a Michigan connection with that. And that's, again, the Michigan militia, things like that kind of came in. I actually ran one of the security patrols for the federal agents that were going to Michigan to the whatever compound they were in. It's a little sketchy on my details now because it's 30 years, something like that. But we ran a security patrol on the water as all the government vehicles were going into that compound. And from the water, we could see the road, and it was literally, I want to say, 60 or 70 black government SUVs all on a road just hauling up this little road along Lake Huron to heading up north to wherever I don't know if it was a compound or wherever Timothy McVeigh was and Terry Nichols were, and just crazy seeing something like that. All right, let's not necessarily move on to better things, but something different. April 30th, U.S. government funding for the National Science Foundation network ends, which means the internet is now a privatized system.
So it was government owned because it was government created.
Mm-hmm. By the National Science Foundation is where that came out of. I don't know if I pick that up on the previous.
I don't think that
notes.
Specifically
that information, that agency out.
That information wasn't
okay
in my earlier notes.
Right. Privatized in 19. That makes sense. As we go on, you start to see a lot more. Obviously, internet activity picked up, became a lot easier. Makes a lot of sense. You let the private industry take over. Makes a lot of movement.
Yep.
May 27th of 95. Superman actor, not just Superman actor. My opinion, Superman.
Yep.
Christopher Reeves is thrown from his horse and is paralyzed from the neck down.
I remember that, man.
I do too, and that was just. It was part really, really sad, but then it became. And his family's put out a documentary, I think, in the last year or so, which is really interesting because I never realized how much of a connection Robin Williams and he had.
Oh, really? I don't think I knew
during his recovery and everything. And I mean, I never lost an inch of respect for Christopher Reeves. He was always my version of Superman.
Yep.
But watching that story and how much he came back from that, and then to see too things like the connection with Robin Williams, his wife, Christopher Reeve's wife, and family, how they all came around him after that. It also was just an amazing story about family and love and care and all that, and just I highly recommend.
All right, there you go.
June 15th, Johnny Cochran, the defense attorney for O.J. Simpson, says, if it does not fit, you must acquit during the O.J. trial.
I remember watching him say that live on TV because he couldn't get the glove on.
It was, I watched that whole trial.
Yep.
It was always, because it was on. It was literally the only thing on TV, I feel like. July 17th, Bill Gates is announced by Forbes magazine as the richest man in the world with a net worth of $12.9 billion in 1995.
That is a lot. That's a lot now.
That is a lot. I could do really good things.
You would never see me again. Oh, you might. Some of you would.
I mean, I'm not shy about telling people if like these people that win the lottery and like, I don't want to quit work. I'm like, I'm not going to give you notice. You can keep all the crap on my desk. It's going to be like college for the first time. I'm just going to not show up one day and I'm never going to go back.
See, I would go get my stuff. And my principal I've known most of my life, so I would at least go, hey, man,
all right,
look.
Maybe I'm kidding a little bit.
Friday is going to be my last day. You know what I'm saying?
I would definitely not show up wearing appropriate attire. I mean, I'd totally be in, like, whatever I wanted to wear that day.
In your situation, yes.
All right. And I really like where I work. I like my job.
Yep.
And maybe I'm kidding.
Maybe.
All right. August the 8th, Coolio releases Gangster's Paradise. Song goes on. Song goes?
The song goes on.
The song goes on to be the Billboard Song of the Year. Coolio release. Okay, I thought that was the album. My mistake. Because that's kind of been the way those have come out. So he released the song Gangster. And I said Gangsta. It's Gangsters. Sorry. I didn't mean to infer. Did you like this song?
Oh, I love this song.
Okay.
It was in the movie Dangerous Minds.
You got a little more gangster, I think, than I did.
I don't know if I got a little more gangster.
Okay.
I listened to a little more of that type of stuff.
You got okay, yeah.
It made me feel like I was hard. Because I was a little guy.
August 24th, Microsoft releases Windows 95.
Windows 95 was probably Windows 95 and Windows XP were probably the best versions of those things. They were so easy to use.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and Windows 95 was totally my first experience with like Word, and Excel.
Yeah.
And then, oh my goodness, you get into like PowerPoint. It's like, look at what you can do with this.
You can make a slideshow.
It's awesome.
And then you can read it to people at a conference because they can't read. Stupid.
September the 4th, the TV show Xena, Warrior Princess, debuts. Much to the delight of, I'm sure, lots of people in this generation.
Of people. Of all walks of life.
What does Xena do now?
Ooh, that is an excellent question.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Does she?
Obviously, she's
I
still
don't know.
alive.
I don't know her name. The actress. We're gonna show it. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, does she continue to act? Because she was buff.
Yes,
but like a lot of people, especially when they're younger and they're that buff, over time, a lot of times they stop working out that much. They continue to act, but their appearance changes so much.
Yes.
You could see them and be like, oh, I don't know who that is.
Right.
So yeah, I wonder what Xena's up to. I'll add her to the list of potential guests. If she's not busy.
Hey, Xena.
I feel like she was tall.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think she'd be taller than you too. I mean, she'd definitely be taller than me. Think she'd be taller than you?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't either.
We'll put her height.
All right. You're giving yourself a lot of work to do.
I mean,
I'm going to agree to it because I'm not the one doing it. I'm like, yeah, you should do that.
You give me work to do is what happens.
September the 9th, Sony releases its game console, the Sony PlayStation, one of the best inventions.
Changed the way that game systems were.
It really was.
Just did things.
Because obviously Nintendo stepped up what Atari had started. Give them all that credit. But PlayStation, graphics, the amount of games, the controllers, is such an upgrade. To this day, I would say if I could have any setup I wanted, it'd probably be like maybe a PS2. Get a little bit of the upgrades from the PS1.
My youngest brother he had one of those, a PlayStation or a PlayStation 2.
I like that.
Kevin,
PS2
what'd you have?
was nice. Comment, Kevin.
Yeah.
October 3rd. I'm sorry. Did you have something else?
Nope.
Okay. October 3rd, O.J. is found not guilty in the murders of Nicole Simpson Brown and Ronald Goldman. A lot of people would call that a very big miscarriage of justice.
There was DNA evidence linking him.
Yeah, the whole thing was shady. I really...
Yeah. But then I think
and first off, prior
guilty.
to this, I would say I was an O.J. fan. Football.
Oh yeah.
Acting.
Oh yeah, he was in the Naked Gun movies.
He was, very much like, Bill Cosby, same thing. We grew up in the 70s and 80s. Totally different persona that we grew up with these people. So this was, in a way, and I'd said it in a previous episode of like a lot of the athletes we looked up to as role models, and I would say for a long time that OJ was probably in that group.
I would agree.
So it's just it's crazy, but I was completely floored that that was how that ended.
But then later, I feel like he was found guilty for like wrongful death, like in a civil case. Or
I think
like
I think it did go to a civil. And again, I'm probably speaking out of turn because I've got little bits and pieces, but
yeah.
I think there was that, and then I thought he ended up in jail or prison for then something else unrelated.
Yeah, I think it was something related to sports memorabilia.
That's what I thought. Maybe there was like an assault or theft or they called it robbery. I don't really know, but it never got better. That was sad. November 19th, the first entirely computer-generated animated movie is released. This is also another good one. This is the last movie I saw before I had a kid. Toy Story. This is the last date my wife and I went on before we had kids, because we were prepping, because this was November, and our daughter was born January the next year. So, but excellent movie. And going back to Lion King, Toy Story, what we're seeing is we're seeing good animated movies that bring in a little bit of mature content,
Yeah.
Not inappropriate, but good enough to like capture the attention of
right.
adults.
If you're an adult, you can watch it and
Yeah.
go, "Oh, I got."
It's like that was kind of funny, and
Right.
the kids won't get that.
Right.
It's like, and then to wrap up 1995, December the 7th, Michael Jackson collapses on stage during rehearsal from dehydration and low blood pressure. HBO special event One Night Only is then canceled.
Yeah, because he was supposed to do an HBO special.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be called One Night Only. It's going to be pay-per-view, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to cancel it because he collapsed on stage.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline, but I feel like we're not too far. We're not. Maybe it's kind of the beginning of him spiraling even further out of control.
I think,
yeah.
Where are we at?
All right, we're
yeah,
26. I think you can get through part of 1996.
All right, 96 goes over to me. The first mobile flip phone goes on sale, the Motorola StarTAC. I mean, man, if you had a StarTAC, you were like, that guy's a big deal. I bet he's a wheeler dealer, big time business executive. If you had a StarTAC, golly. And it would go on to sell 60 million units.
It would be a yuppie,
I guess.
Maybe that was a little earlier.
That was earlier.
Yeah.
But you saw somebody with a flip phone, you were like, ooh, they're important. March 7th, back to it. The Hubble telescope releases its first pictures of the surface of Pluto. That is a long way. I'm taking pictures of the surface.
That is.
Think about that.
What other pictures? Did it get other pictures along the way?
I think so.
Okay.
I think they just... Now, some of those other planets have some type of, gaseous atmosphere where you can't see the surface. Sorry. That goes back to our conversation while the intro
I
was
love
playing.
that there's a planet called Uranus. There's so many places we can go with that. I'll bring it up because it's funny.
Yes, it is.
And what is it? While we're on planets. Teacher, what's the proper pronunciation of? Is it Uranus or is it Uranus?
I guess I think it depends on where you are, your country of origin.
Okay. Because I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I have. I think people pronounced it Uranus because they don't. That's close enough to urine. We got urine and Uranus.
I'm sorry.
So
12-year-old kid comes out immediately.
Right.
It's like, he said anus.
It's like front or the back. Like, just pick one.
All right.
All right.
Love the Hubble telescope.
Right. I'm glad I put it in there so much. March 25th, the U.S. issues a new design of the $100 bill. I remember when this... I recall when this happened. Because you would get one of those new $100 bills and you were like, this looks like Monopoly money.
This is fake.
Right. What is this?
The next day, they invented that little pen that the 7-Eleven cashier screens you like you're a convict every time you come in there wanting to buy a candy bar.
I heard I think it was a comedian talking about taking a $2 bill or something and buying something with it. And the girl thought it was fake, and she like wrote on it. She was like, "Oh, it left a black mark," And he looked at her and he said, "Ma'am, that's a Sharpie."
That is true, though. I mean, you hand somebody a $2 bill or one of those dollar coins that you get from like the post office or something like that.
One of Pocahontas dollars,
and they're like, "What is this?
what this is?"
They were like, "That'd be $7 and whatever," and it's like you give them,
Well, it's weird going to Canada because they don't have $1. Like their dollars are coins, and they have $2 coins, loonies and toonies. Loonies are $1.
That doesn't even sound real.
Loonies are $1. Toonies are $2.
I mean, that makes sense.
So I had to go to the bank and act like I knew what I was talking about. Gave him $100. Said, "Can I have this in loonies and toonies?" I'm just sitting there, and the only thing that's going through my mind is we're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony, the Animaniacs, and I'm
Loonies
sitting there
and
going,
toonies.
Did I really say that out loud? Like I'm a grown up. I said loonies and toonies. Yeah, but
a couple of loonies.
Hey, if we have Canadian subscribers,
I think we do. We have one. I feel like I said that a couple of episodes ago.
As soon
we
as
have a Canadian and a German.
Nice. So for our Canadian subscribers, I'm not making fun of you. It's just different because I had never said those words to another adult, especially at a bank. So, Scotia Bank, that's where I went.
Hey?
Yeah. All right, April 20th, the Chicago Bulls win a record 72 games out of the 80-game season. Think about that. They lost 8 games in a whole season. That's
record?
Crazy.
Like, because there's no NBA team that's gone undefeated, right? That's as close as it's happened. There's no Miami Dolphins of the NBA.
Right. I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
They just play too many games.
I mean, it makes 80 games, man. That's that's a typical regular season?
I think they may play more now. I think they've expanded the season.
Oh, wow.
Because there's more, but
I mean, I'm totally cool with that. If you're making that much money, you should have to play every day. If somebody wants to watch you play.
Yep.
That's Chris's opinion right
72 there. Out of 80 games. That's pretty dominant. And if you notice, in the year before, Michael Jordan announced his unretirement of basketball.
So he still had
just saying.
So, that might be a good question for later.
Okay. All right, May 10th, the movie Twister premieres.
Excellent movie.
Yes.
Have you watched the second one?
I have not.
I mean, it's not the original. Still really good.
Okay. I thought you were going to say it's not the original and leave it at that. Okay.
Both they hold their own.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, June 25th, the movie Independence Day, starring
really
Will Smith, premieres. I'll tell you what, the speech that the president gives towards the end when they're going to say, like, that. I'm like, whoever wrote that.
I wanted to fight aliens.
Right. Whoever wrote that should actually write presidential speeches because that was good. We will not go quietly into the night. And I was like I got all hyped up, like, yeah, let's go smoke some aliens,
It's like, and then if you're gonna smoke some aliens and you got Randy Quaid with you, I mean, come on, dude.
Well, I'm fly. I'm pilot.
I can do it.
Ever since I was abducted by... Sorry.
I totally... Both of those movies, really, really good.
Yeah?
Yep. Oh, look at this next
one. July 4th, the free email server Hotmail begins. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. I remember Hotmail.
Yeah.
Does anybody still got a Hotmail account? Does it still exist?
Hotmail has been bought by Windows, I think, or Microsoft.
Okay.
I believe. Because it's now like...
Speaking of our
or
email,
maybe
you can sign me back into our email. Side note, you can delete this, whatever, but I got kicked out. I don't have the password anymore. Maybe that's why I haven't been helping. Anyway.
I check the email once a week, and there is usually none.
I am
none.
Not the best co-host. You can still have an AOL, right? That's still out there?
I believe, yeah.
And
does anybody still pay for AOL? Like, for real? Do you sign in and it says, you've got mail? Does that still happen?
I'm still impressed that there's a free email service.
True, yeah.
I mean, I really am. Because, and I feel like one day we're going to pay for it. And
I think that there will hopefully always be a free version, very limited. Like, oh, you want to open attachments? You got to pay for that. So I don't know. But all right, July 8th, the Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe.
What? They
Spice Girls were?
I wasn't
easy on the eyes.
They were. I wasn't really ever like I think they had a couple songs.
I was never,
I thought
like,
catchy.
oh my God, I love the Spice Girls. I didn't mind looking at the Spice Girls, but I wasn't going to go to a concert.
I was probably still watching Xena. I mean, right. I'm still watching Baywatch, man.
Yeah. Fair. All right. July 15th, TWA Flight 800 from New York to Paris explodes over the coast of Long Island. Now, off camera, we said the same thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that this happened.
Yeah.
And that's a conspiracy that I don't really want to get into.
Terrifying to think about, but
yes.
Other terrifying things have also happened. I mean,
that is also true.
I mean, things can happen. You never know.
July 19th, the Summer Olympics opens in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am still mad at myself for not going.
I had an opportunity to go as well. I did not.
Seems to be a theme with you.
Why?
I had tickets to go to this concert, but I had to have a seat.
I had an opportunity to work.
I had tickets to this, and then I sold them.
Right, so the Olympics, I had an opportunity to go and work security for the Olympics.
As a coach.
Again, I was in the service at the time, and we ended up having two of my shipmates went down and worked that event. So yeah, this is partner up with some of the other service branches and run security. But I chose not to.
Okay.
I mean, turns out.
I mean,
probably that was okay.
There will probably never be another Olympics that close to us in Nashville. Unless Nashville hosted one, which I hope that Nashville does not host the Olympics because we are full. Like, for real, we are full.
That would not surprise me in the next 20 years for that to happen.
I mean, I could see it because
I mean, there is still, if you get, outside the inner circle of Nashville, there's still room to, I think, bring in some of those complexes and things that would be needed.
I think we have most of what would be needed. I think that the Olympics in LA in 28 will be the first Olympics where no new venues are going to be built.
Oh, wow. It makes sense that we finally gotten to a point where,
right.
I mean, what potential events don't just now happen, right?
Right.
I mean, I feel like there's even curling. There's a curling club here. Yeah.
Well, one thing, they haven't done this yet, but one thing that I heard about the Olympics, because I try to keep up to date with that because I enjoy them, but that they were kind of going to go, they had considered this, they haven't done it. They were going to have maybe an 8-city rotation because, it's every 4 years. So you're talking 32 years in between times that cities would host.
Yeah.
But pick 8 cities so that way it just kind of goes in a rotation and then they can just update facilities rather than having to pick some place and have them build all this stuff. Because to my knowledge, no Olympics since Barcelona has made money.
Really? Just because of all the infrastructure?
I think the city itself has lost out.
Because the infrastructure that has to be built. And,
right.
I mean, golly, that would make sense.
So that's why they were thinking about going to this, 6 or 8 city rotation to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which would.
Do you want to do the next couple because they're Olympic related?
Yeah.
And then
we'll
wrap up this episode.
Sure.
Because we're kind of, I think we're
right at 40.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. July 27th, a bomb explodes in Atlanta Olympic Park, killing 1 and injuring 110. Remember that too?
I do.
Because they cut away from events and then started showing stuff outside. I'm like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. And for something like that to happen, and it's sad that someone died, but So that could have been so much worse. I mean,
could have been so much worse. But then I'm
insanity.
thinking, I'm going, well, it's the Olympics. It's the time for the world to come together peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
And no, they come to Atlanta, they come to the U.S., and some idiot's got to go and do something like this. You know, that's what went through my head.
I don't think that's the first act of violence during an Olympic Games.
It's not.
Though.
It's
I
not.
feel like it's, and maybe because it's kind of that world stage. People are looking to use that. Unfortunately, I mean that.
I guess
it's not cool. I know. I'm like 7 episodes in. I'm still trying to work on this thing. I just want to be heard.
I try to turn the volume up on you when I can. All right. And then August 6th, the Atlanta Olympics close, and the U.S. wins the medal count with 101 total, including 44 gold.
I wonder who came in second. I wonder.
Second's the first loser.
Because that sounds like a lot of medals, a lot of gold medals too. But
I mean, I would say that's pretty par for the course on the amount of medals that we win, especially at summer games.
Yeah.
But
do you think gold medalists fare as well now? Or, you know, I mean, there's a couple of people I remember growing up. You've got
Mary Lou Retton, you got Sugar Ray Leonard, Dorothy Hamill.
You got Dorothy Hamill, you got Scott Hamilton.
Even a little more recently, Shaun White,
Michael Phelps, or more recent.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, I guess it still has a sense. There's a sense of notoriety that comes with that, so that's still cool.
And a lot of it, I think, depends on the event.
Yeah, and probably a little bit on the person, the personality.
Yeah.
Greg Louganis was one, the diver growing up, because especially once he hit his head.
Once he hit his head, man.
That hurt to watch that.
Yep.
Awesome. So that wraps up the Olympics, right?
That wraps up. Yep. And so that was. I'm gonna take a.
Here,
but I'm gonna put
do
a
that
mark.
little technical thing there.
All right. So we'll pick back up with the rest of '96 after this. Now you said you thought you had a question.
I did. Probably forgot it. Ooh.
Oh, it was about the Chicago Bulls and the 72 games and the Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm so glad you're here. I was almost up to that. Probably still wouldn't remember that, though. So, settling something. Greatest basketball player of all time. I think there's 2 people that come to mind. You got Michael Jordan. You got LeBron James.
I'd put Kobe up there too, but.
All right, I don't have a question.
Come on.
I don't know. Those are the 2 names I've heard.
You hear those 2 compared all the time.
All right.
So,
is
Michael Jordan?
Is Michael Jordan truly the greatest basketball player of all time?
I'm just gonna say I'm not.
It's like a deck of cards. No shenanigans going on here.
Keep an open mind.
Oh my gosh! Sometimes that book, I just want to throw it right out the door.
Keep an open mind.
Kobe Bryant. Obviously, LeBron is still playing, so there's time.
I mean, this would have. I mean, I wouldn't have picked that, but.
Doubt it.
But
I'll keep an open mind.
At least there are some.
So it
fairly definitive answers.
I was going to say, we could find very definitive answers.
The answer may come to you in another language.
Okay. All right, don't give all these away.
Nope.
Because we may need those. But
all
right, I'm going to keep an open mind.
All right.
And LeBron still has a chance. Another awesome episode.
All right, we're going to try to get a 4th one here before it gets.
I think we're gonna do it.
Yep.
I think we got it. We'll see you guys very, very soon.
Very soon.
Thank you for watching.
10
listening.
or 12 days from now. I may stretch it out to 12.
Okay.
Since we're traveling.
And we're also maybe over the summer.
We might
do a little
Zoom one.
Change stuff up a little bit. Do something where we zoom in. I'd still like to do something. Maybe
on location
mobile.
somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know how difficult.
You know what we need to do?
What do we need?
We need to go camping now that you have a camper.
Okay. We can set up a little studio.
I mean, what do you think we got to take? We got to take the phone, maybe one of these lights.
And the microphones.
Microphones and that little mixer. I mean, it's not much. I mean, all in all, it's probably
I think it could probably be set
15
up at a
pounds
campsite.
of stuff.
I think we could do it. We should probably try that. We should try that before the end of the summer.
That would be fun.
I think it would be a special episode. We can maybe invite a guest.
Ooh. Yeah. Maybe Ice T. Ice T, you want to go camping?
Do you think he's... I don't... You think he's a camper?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's a camper.
Something just tells me he's not.
I think you'd have to bleep him in his response.
To me asking him if he wanted to go camping.
Yeah. I think he'd give you an OG response on that, I feel like.
I would agree with that. I think he would.
Oh,
he
man.
could even zoom in. I tell you what, Ice T, you don't even have to go camping with us. We'll camp. You can zoom in, and we'll figure out how to put you right here. You don't even have to come here.
You know what? I would take a phone call from him.
Yeah.
And put him on speaker. So if he didn't want to get, all fixed up that day.
He could just do it after.
Not that you need much fixing up. You're a cool dude. You probably
hair always fresh. Eelskin boots.
I think, I would take a teleconference.
Yeah.
If that's what he would want to do. If that's what it takes. I think you and I are giving a lot. And he ain't giving us nothing yet. So this has been a one-way relationship.
Sometimes it happens.
So far.
Sometimes that happens.
If you
Sometimes
are
you put a lot in.
If you are clueless right now about what we're talking about, I'm sorry for you, but you need to go back and watch. I really wish I knew what episodes they were.
I feel like it was maybe the 87, 88-ish.
Yeah.
Because I put on the thumbnails like what years it is. But
yeah.
So go find the 88.
You're going to have to do some watching. That makes sense. But it went on for a couple of episodes. So if you want the full context, you really do need to start at the very beginning, episode 1, and just work your way through.
Look, everybody has a drive to work. Most everybody. Some people work from home.
Yeah.
Just let it play.
Yeah,
I promise there's some funny stuff.
You don't need to see.
No.
Seeing enhances it.
Right, because I do put...
Yeah,
the little.
It's great.
Pictures.
If you work out, if you walk on a treadmill, it's great for that. I had somebody. I watched one at the gym the other day. I was walking on the treadmill, and I could see the guy next to me. He kept looking at my screen, and he kept looking at me, and I could tell in his mind he was going, "This dude looks like that dude," and I could see it clicking, like he was trying to figure out like. And again, we're in Nashville, so it's not uncommon to see. Maybe somebody who's in entertainment.
He thought you were famous.
I that's exactly the face he was making. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm working out next to somebody. Who is this? He's on there, and he's and I could just see the whole brain clicking. And I'm like, this dude has no idea.
Maybe he's one of our new subscribers.
Then I am absolutely not anybody he knows. But
who is this guy?
Maybe if I'd had on my shirt. With the QR code or something.
See, now
like that.
you said you were going to make us some shirts.
I did. I need to get the logo back. I need to get I'm not in marketing. I need some help.
Look, man,
I'm ready to get the shirts.
I had this made.
You've sent this to me before.
I have.
I did try.
I need to send it again?
Yeah. I need to save it differently. That's a really good mounting job too.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that before. I'm sorry. It's been up there for like 4 months, and I'm just now looking at the hardware you used.
Professional.
I'm really impressed by your screws. And that is what
that's a good one to end on.
is what this podcast is all about.
All about.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Join us next time for 1997.
The rest of 96.
The rest of 96.
And probably 97.
And 97-ish, something like that.
All right.
So, see ya.